the strongest player of the generation of miracles. In Kuroko's basketball, the most powerful players are known as the generation of miracles. Each of them represents the pinnacle of a specific basketball skills, whereas Murasakibara's unstoppable interior defense or Aomine's unmatched finishing ability. Every member of the generation of miracles embodies the perfect player for their position. Akashi with his Emperor Eye is the ideal point guard, a flawless playmaker who controls the game. Murasakibara is the perfect center, combining towering height, an enormous wingspan, and amazing mobility in the paint. Aomine is the stronger slasher with elite perimeter defense and unstoppable drivers to the rim, making him the ultimate power forward. Midorima is the greatest shooter, is the ideal shooting guard, a threat from anywhere on the court. Finally, the small forward position, which bridges all other roles, demands versatility, and Kise fits this perfectly with his ability to copy other players' moves. In essence, the generation of miracles represent the absolute embodiment of their respective position. The issue is that you can't definitively say who the strongest among them, because if you put someone like Akashi at the center position, it will be a terrible idea. Their height difference is just too massive. No matter how skilled Akashi is, his anthropometric limitation mean he could never be an effective center. Similarly, Aomine couldn't play as a point guard. He rarely passes or runs complex plays, preferring to dominate individually. But I'm not saying they are weak. Even outside their natural position, they'd still perform well, but they are most effective when played their designated roles. So, by the logic, the strongest player should be the one who can play every position without a major drop in performance. Many would argue that Kise fits his perfectly. He can temporarily replicate any of the generation of miracles. But does that really make him the strongest? In the anime, all of their abilities are taken to the absolute extreme, and then Kise in the zone, he is the strongest player according to Midorima. But it is important to remember what I mentioned earlier: no matter how talented you are, you can't 100% replicate someone like Murasakibara unless you have a similar height, weight and anthropometry. At any cost, Murasakibara's physical attributes surpass those of any members of the generation of miracles. His enormous wingspan, sharp reflex, high mobility and incredible stretch under the basket make him exceptional. Kise, who is the 8 inches shorter and has a smaller wingspan, cannot copy him perfectly. And let's not forget that Kise has a time limit on his copying ability. It's no coincidence that the first player Kise could perfectly copy in the anime was Aomine. Think about it, they have nearly the same height, weight and even play similar position, small forward and power forward. It makes sense, as many basketball skills are based on a player's anthropometry. A player who's 6 feet tall will never be able to dominate in the paint like a 7-foot player, and so on. The greater the difference in physical attributes, the harder it is for Kise to copy them. So, does that mean Aomine is the strongest player? This is also quite debatable. His playstyle psychology makes him weaker, he almost never passes, rarely shoots 3-pointers, even Kagami in the zone took 3s. Moreover, it's hard for me to imagine how Aomine would stop someone like Murasakibara in the paint. Against player with strong individual defense, Aomine's offensive efficiency would drop because he doesn't know how to play as part of a team. This means that by focusing on him, you can effectively take him out of the game. If he at least passes the ball, his usefulness would increase significantly, but his mentality doesn't allow that, which is why he constantly plays one-on-one. And if there's someone like Murasakibara in the paint with superior reflex and speed, Aomine's performance wouldn't drop drastically. Does this mean Akashi is the strongest player? Unfortunately, it's still not that simple. We know Akashi has his Emperor Eye, but without a powerhouse team like Rakuzan, which includes 3 elite players and an excellent center, he wouldn't be able to perform as effectively. Of course, in the zone, at his peak, he can stop Kagami before his jump, we see this in anime, but the key phrase is before the jump. Once Kagami is airborne, Akashi can't reach him. This is also evident in the movie Last Game, where we never saw Akashi steal the ball from Silver. Most likely, it's because more physical players can easily overpower Akashi in the paint without even noticing. Which makes sense, as Akashi isn't a forward or center, he's not meant to defend the rim. For all his talent, Akashi can't fully shine without a strong team. For example, if you give Akashi a team like Kisses, he'd never reach the finals. Even his crossover moves aren't unstoppable. At least a few players, like Kagami and Midorima, managed to react and disrupt him. And so, who is the strongest member of the Generation of Miracles? I maintain that each of the Generation of Miracle players is strong in their position, and when they enter the zone, they become even stronger. However, there is one player who has never entered the zone, Midorima Shintaro. He is the only one from Generation of Miracles who has never been in the zone. But why? The answer is actually simple, because in the zone he will be strongest among them. Think about it, Midorima without the zone or any other enhancements can already make shot from anywhere on the court with 100% accuracy. Stopping him is incredibly difficult because he stands at 6'5" at just 16 years old, making him the second tallest in the Generation of Miracles after Murasakibara. But Midorima is not just a phenomenal three-point shooter, he's also an excellent interior defense. Remember when he blocked Kagami multiple times even after Kagami got stronger. Moreover, he and Kagami are the only players who managed to recover after Akashi's ankle breaker. Midorima also has high basketball IQ. If you watched his games, especially when he started passing more, you'd see it. On top of that, he even improved his stamina in the anime. Fans often underestimate Midorima, calling him boring. But the truth is undeniable. Manga after Tadatoshi Fujimaki never let him enter the zone, because if he did, Midorima would become the strongest player in the series. The manga even states that he can make every type of shots, hooks, fadeaways, finger rolls, anything. He mainly shoots threes because they are worth more points. He's also shown great fakes multiplies time in the anime. His only weakness is his average speed. Fujimaki realized that he had created too overpowered of a player. To keep Midorima from breaking the balance of the series, he never let him enter the zone. But imagine how terrifying Midorima would be if he did. Logically, his shooting would not improve, it's already 100%, but like everyone in the zone, his speed and physical abilities would skyrocket. That means he could shoot threes even faster, with fast release, possibly off the dribble like Steph Curry. For Midorima, defense would not matter, he could shoot off anyone or draw fouls at will. Add to that enhanced defense, mobility and unpredictability. Akashi would not be able to steal the ball because Midorima would not even need to set up, he'd just shoot instantly. That's exactly why Fujimaki never let him enter the zone. Midorima would become unstoppable, a threat from anywhere on the court with elite defense to match. Even in the anime, Kagami constantly pressured him full court, yet Midorima still scored. Now imagine him in the zone. A complete monster. Add his calm demeanor and high IQ to the mix, and it's clear. Midorima never entered the zone because his ability would become basketball monster. No one, not even the other miracles, could stop him.